Now for this next chart, we are going to examine a valuable aspect of the current AI boom, and that is large language models. And this reveals the exponential rate of change within this particular technology, because this chart does not even have anything of note pre-2020. You could begin this chart in January of 2020 and you will see that almost all the progress has happened since then because the exponential was building up. It's very similar to how a chart of economic progress does not have to go back before the 15th century AD, because before that it is practically a flat line with virtually zero growth. Similarly, a map of human civilizations does not really need to go back further than 2500 BC because there were no organized nation states before that point, and only after that did a few begin, and the same is true with these large language models. Now this is just a vector of AI that builds on top of all other types of AI that existed before, like with the internet revolution, for example. First you had the graphical user interface, and therefore you had the World Wide Web, 1995. After that you had e-commerce, you could buy and sell things online. After that you had low-cost telecommunications, the costs of long-distance voice communication, which was still expensive by the mid-1990s, rapidly plunged to zero. And each of those combined to create a unified internet experience, and the same is happening with artificial intelligence right now. So this chart, it begins barely before 2020, late 2019, up to present, and this is the number of parameters in this vertical axis. So horizontal is time, vertical is number of parameters, but this vertical axis is not labeled, so it is a little bit confusing because the size of each bubble is the number of parameters over here. And as you can see, as the years and even months progress, the number of large language models that have 500 billion, 1 trillion, 2 trillion parameters continues to increase. In 2020, when GPT-3 first came out, there was nothing more advanced than it, but it had only, 100 billion parameters or so, and now something like that would not even seem noteworthy because now you have these types of large language models that have 1 trillion, 2 trillion parameters. The successor to GPT-3 was GPT-4. Pretty soon we'll have GPT-5, which is probably going to have a lot more parameters than GPT-4. But you see how much is occurring now, to the extent that 2024 is so far ahead of just 2020 that we are seeing exponential technological progress right before our eyes. Now, this is only one aspect of artificial intelligence, I repeat, but it stacks onto all other types of AI to combine into a unified AI experience, and the internet metaphors I gave that had all these subcomponents of internet experience are certainly applicable in that regard. So a chart like this is rapidly changing, and if you watch this video 2 years after it is published, I'm publishing this in May of 2024, 2 years subsequent to this, if you're watching this in 2026, even this may seem primitive because these large language models will get to an even more advanced state. There will also be a consolidation. You don't need dozens or hundreds of large language models. Many will merge and combine, but whatever exists in a few years' time will be far, far more advanced than even the most advanced large language models of today. Thanks for watching.